Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Curtis. I'm one of the trainers here at Redtail.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm another one of the trainers here at Redtail. And this is our newest golden puppy at Redtail. His name is Leonidas, but he goes by Leo unless he's in trouble. And then he's Leonidas.
He's a full-on Leonidas. All right. Well, today's topic is Ask a Trainer, which means we did not plan the topic. We are essentially just going to take your questions and answer them, so you really get to have control over the direction we're going today. So really what I want to throw out there is you guys have to start putting in questions. If you have a question, go and throw it in the Q&A section, and we will get to those. But first off, there's a few newer things that we would love to sort of show off as like you're asking those questions. So I'm going to switch over to the CRM here. And actually, Haley, why don't you go and show us like the few of those newer updates?
Yeah, so I think the biggest, coolest, and newest actually thing is that the icons in the top right-hand corner, you don't have to click on them anymore for a modal to pop up and load. So before you would click on the plus symbol and this kind of big square would come down from above and it would take a second to load. Well, now it's instantly available when you're on hovering over any of these icons. It'll just immediately become available with your recently viewed, your alerts, any way to reach out to us, to get through to us through that question mark. And it's just immediately available.
It just saves so much more time. Because again, like you said, you click on it, it loads, it pops up. Yeah, they were quick icons, but now we made them even faster, which is great. And honestly, even though we're saying you hover over them, keep in mind, even if you're on an iPad, which doesn't have a hover over ability, you can still click on them and it still loads quite a bit faster on those. So I absolutely love that we made that adjustment. You'll slowly start seeing like the help documentation change over, things like that. Might still look a little different, but we are getting through those on this great new update. Another update that we've recently done is a lot with the mobile app.
Yes.
And so there's been some newer changes. A new mobile app was released. I know we did a webinar. I know you have a few new things that we recently updated, I think even just like last night.
Yeah.
The new, yes.
They completely redid it. So for anyone who's used the mobile app, prior to a month ago?
Yes.
Yeah. If you haven't used the mobile app in a month or more, then we really recommend that you go ahead and delete the current app from your phone. This is Android and iPhone, Android and Apple devices. Go ahead and delete that previous app and just download the new one. And it's pretty cool, I think. We designed it pretty neat.
Awesome. I'm excited for that. So let's go and take one of the first questions. Haley, go and what's that first one we got in there?
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite topics, actually. What are the benefits of using activity templates?
Ooh, okay.
So,
actually, the last Ask a Trainer we did was about maybe like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And we had just released activity and note templates.
Yeah.
So some benefits of those. What we're going to do here is when we actually go up to Quick Add in the top right, you can choose activities or notes because they both do have templates now. Haley's going to run after Leo there. But once you click activities, right here, the first option pops up and says you can use a template. What's great here is you can say, you want maybe the type and the category to automatically fill out, or even maybe specific attendees. Because I know a lot of the times I add appointments in, and I'm coming in here, if it's on an appointment, it's a task. I'm changing it over to a task. I'm changing the category. That's multiple clicks. But going in and creating a template now, I can say for like this client review template, it's going to automatically change right here, the type to client review and the category to client review notes. So it's just a quick way to do it. Another thing that I've seen really helpful with these templates is to assign one activity to a group of people. So what I mean by that is, like when you add an activity, it always defaults and just adds yourself. But maybe I want to assign something to a certain, like the training team. If I have a template, we have one here called Tucker's Team Quick Assign. That's just what we named the template. When we select that, it automatically right down here filled out, there's 5 users selected. And you'll see which users were selected right from there. So it saves time. I don't have to go and click all 5 of those people. I just use the template. So if you do want to build those templates out, the easiest way to do that is we're going to go up into our name in our top right-hand corner. and then we're going to choose manage your account. Once you're there, we're going to scroll down to the manage template section. The first one right here says activity templates. So we'll go and select that. And now these are the same options that did that drop-down menu from when I was creating the activity. So if I actually open up this Tucker's Team Quick Assign and it pops up, this template, all it does is I named it here. So I see it, which template I want. I didn't choose a subject, didn't choose a type, a category. I didn't choose a description. The only thing I did was choose the 5 attendees who I wanted to be assigned if I'm assigning tasks out to that team. And so again, it just saves so I don't have to choose that list of all 5 of those people. So again, if you do team assignments out for certain activities, the activity templates is a great option to start using for that.
I like them, it's great. They're great for meetings, but I like them for, client meetings as well. Just having that little agenda and the description. And then also if you use automations and you have to remember kind of what type and what category go together to set off an automation that potentially links a workflow or emails someone else in the office, then instead of remembering what type and what category combination has to be entered, you can use these templates as a way to remember that for you.
Definitely.
So takes away that, having to remember it, and who wants to remember everything?
Awesome. Now, again, if you have questions, please type those into the Q&A section. So we want to make sure that if you came in here with a question, we want to get that answered for you as best as we can today. And if you have a question for Leo, even type in a question. We will answer things about him.
What's life as a puppy like?
Yes,
Love it.
Right. All right, Haley, what's the next one we have?
Yeah, another question came in. Can I change the default type on activities when adding? So maybe you don't need a full-blown template per se, but you just want. So when we go to add an activity, what's our default right now, Curtis?
So what I think this question is asking is, so same thing, when you choose an activities, even though that template that we had could automatically choose the activity itself, maybe you find yourself always adding in tasks. When I'm creating an activity, I'm always doing tasks, but every time I come here, it defaults to appointment, or the category defaults to general information. I want to change that. These are the defaults that every time you add are the first 2 things on there. So it's even before you get to those templates. So to manage that and change what those are, same thing, we're going to go back to our name in the top right, choose manage your account. Actually, take it back. Your name in the top right, then choose preferences, the first option. Once you're here, you can scroll down and you'll see under activity management, we have default activity type and default activity category. Up until about a few months, maybe a year ago, it was just default activity type. And so it's changed to where you can choose both the type and the category. So again, if you're an admin and you're doing the same, you're adding tasks over and over and over again, same way, and you find yourself choosing the drop down for the activity type and then the activity category every single time, it's much easier to come in here and change those defaults. So that way you don't have to worry about that time saved. Actually, so far, like the questions that we've had and points out is all about little bits of time savers. All right, so
reducing the amount of clicks, right? That's a big one, and we've taken away half the amount of clicks with the drop down adjustments in the top right hand corner. You're not clicking to bring that up anymore. And the same idea is, if you, like Curtis said, if you find that you're always changing that activity type. I know for me, I usually schedule one maybe 2 types of activities in the CRM, and I'm always changing that, or I was always changing that activity type before I adjusted the default. And by default, your activity category, I believe, is general information, and not everything's general information, right?
True.
So potentially you're using one category more than others, then that's probably not supposed to be general info. So you can go ahead and adjust that to whatever works for you.
Yeah, because actually it's very important to have more than just using general information, in our opinion.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for both of us, if I can. So if you're marking every single note, every single activity as general information, you're losing the power that you have to report on that information later on.
Absolutely. Looks like another question came in.
Yes, yeah. Let's see. So we're going to go and read this over. We're getting ready to have our first workshop next week. We're constantly getting an updated Google spreadsheet with people who have registered. I would like to import them, some sort of help with this task from your team. As more people are registered, we'll uploading them from the spreadsheet. Will that create duplicates? Great question.
Several questions.
Actually, we have, so essentially what I'm taking out of this question is, you do events, you have a spreadsheet of information. You want to be able to mark that those people went to the event, like in the seminar or maybe you're not using a seminars tool, maybe a keyword or a tag group, you want to mark them in some way. Well, yes, you can definitely give us a spreadsheet of information. We can add new contacts through a spreadsheet. That is definitely fine. But if they already exist in the database, there is the possibility that they will get duplicated. Now, however, if you start from Redtail, you export that list out of who you're expected to be there, or maybe who was invited, and then maybe you update. And if you had new people who weren't in your database, you can add all those people with a spreadsheet still. Now, the most important thing here is I'm just going to pull up a group of contacts. And actually, let me use my recently viewed. So I'm going to go recently viewed and not choose quick lists. And we're just going to pull up our AAA active clients. So let's say I'm just pulling a random list. If I'm going to select these, I'm going to select all of them here. And if I export it out of Redtail first, so any of these exports, I'm just going to choose default settings. Now,
default settings is a great one because it throws a lot of information into Excel. I recommend this one a lot because sometimes you don't necessarily know what you need. And default settings will kick out contact information like phone numbers, email addresses, date of birth, status, just a bunch of info really, and you can delete what you don't need.
But the reason I'm talking about exports first in regards to this question is this column right here is the client ID. So if you are exported out first and then you update information on that client, you can use that client ID to where we update the current client without duplicating it. But if you do provide us with a spreadsheet without a client ID for a way for us to match it up with the correct contact record, there is, yes, the possibility of duplicates. I normally suggest, with your events, start in the CRM first, so that way you have more control over it.
It really depends on the ratio you're expecting. So if you know that your event is going to have a lot of existing contacts in your database, I would take Curtis's suggestion first. Start with the contacts from the database, from what's in the CRM right now, export it and update those first. And then those new clients that weren't on that spreadsheet, we actually have a template for you. So any new contacts that you want to import, you're going to go to that question mark in the top right-hand corner, and then you're going to go to Redtail Help Desk. So just follow the question mark. And then once you get here, you're going to type in import from Excel, because that's what it is. That's what we're doing. And you're going to spell Excel correctly. And then you're just going to click enter on the keyboard. It's going to search. And the first thing that's going to come up is, can I import contacts from an Excel spreadsheet into the CRM? Well, I think that's the question we're asking, right? And then this help document is going to walk you through importing new contacts. So Curtis had a great suggestion, right, for starting from the CRM so that you don't create duplicates in the new spreadsheet first. But I would say if you're not expecting that many duplicates, it's okay to go ahead and start with importing new contacts. And then there is a way to find duplicates if they do get created, right?
Definitely.
So if you do end up with duplicates, say you want to import the contacts first, and then you want to go see kind of what duplicates occurred from there, then you can go to reports on the left-hand side, contact reports, and then there's contacts by duplicate names. And that's where these duplicates are going to go ahead and show up. From here, you can combine the duplicates. So send them to the search page. Looks like we have a couple different duplicates here.
And then from those bulk actions that we have, again, like you can combine them together. So if you did accidentally add somebody in, combine them so that way all the information from both creates that record, and you won't have that issue. But unfortunately, when you're using like something outside of the database, like a spreadsheet and the database itself, it is hard to marry those two systems together.
It really, yeah, like Curtis said, it just depends on how you'd like to approach it. I think we agree kind of on the method. Yeah,
definitely. And if you have further questions on that, really feel free, reach out to our support team. They can definitely walk you through that. Another question that came in here, and I love this one because it's something that we need to worry about every month, is how do we run a birthday report? Now that can seem like a simple question, but we have a few different ways that people have run their birthdays. I'm going to show off, what my favorite way.
Yeah.
I normally suggest people are always proactive with birthdays, like a month ahead. Like I'm dealing with, we're in March right now. I'm going to deal with April birthdays. So in that case, I want to use that information. I'm going to run a search to find everybody who has a birthday in April. And again, this is just my personal favorite, my favorite way of doing it. A lot of people find different ways. So I'm going to choose contacts on the left-hand side, go up to advanced search up at the top. And then from here, I want to narrow it down to anybody who has the status of active client and a birthday in the month of April. So I can use the searching to do contact where the field is status. Oh, that's tax ID. There we go. And I'm going to say equal to active. So I'm not going to worry about the businesses or the prospects. Then I'm going to hit and narrow it down. And this time also do contact date of birth month. So DOB month. And I can say equal to April. If I run that, it's going to give me, here's the 35 people who have birthdays in April. This is not technically the birthday report yet. These are just people who have birthdays. Now, if I want to get a list of them, do something with these contacts, I'm going to select all, so the very top box. Because the number's under 50, I don't have to select the underline here. And I choose contact options on the right, then reports. And then the first option says birthday report. What this does is downloads a PDF, and it'll actually show you the contact records in birthday order. I'm going to open it up here for you. So you'll see here, let me zoom in just a little bit so we can see that on the screen, but it's going to show the contacts, their birthday. So April 6th is the first birthday, then 7th, 9th. We have a few people on the 9th. If you're sending out, letters, you have their home address or actually their primary address. You have their primary contact information there to easily reach out to them. You also have like their email information, things like that. So again, this is one of the best ways because if you're mailing things out, you have this and you know when they're upcoming. That's just one way to deal with birthdays.
I think there were two really important things to note there. This time we used a report instead of an export. Correct. And a report goes to PDF and an export goes to Excel. So anytime you see those words in Redtail, a report goes to PDF, Excel, or an export goes to Excel. And then the second really important thing that Curtis touched on was it exports them in birthday date order, which means you're going to get April 1st, the person with the birthday on April 1st, then the person with the birthday on April 3rd, then the person with the birthday on April 13th. And it's going to go in date order, which I don't know about you, but doing that in Excel is really complicated. Yep. So we went ahead and did that for you in the PDF.
Yep. And then there came a clarification question from the import from earlier that I did just want to touch on real fast. Asking to clarify, if you provide us with a spreadsheet of contact information, yes, we can import those as new contact records for you. Keep in mind, please do not just email us a spreadsheet. We want to, if it has information like secured, like tax IDs, things like that, please reach out to our support team first. And then from there, they will actually send you a link to where you can upload, a secure link to upload that spreadsheet to. And then normally it takes about 24 hours itself. Question also, does the import work with Google Spreadsheet? I believe as long as it's a spreadsheet format, we should definitely be able to take it.
Just start from our template first, because our template has the columns that we need in the order that we need them. But you can definitely, if you don't have Microsoft Excel, you can open that in Google Spreadsheets and it'll have all the same structure to it.
Perfect.
And then one more on that. Once the contacts are imported, Redtail assigns them that customer number. And then from there going forward, we can always update them using that customer number. But after they're created, we don't track them by their name at all, their tax ID number. The way that Redtail identifies them is by that unique number. That way we don't ever run into issues recognizing duplicates.
And I definitely want to point out, if this might seem like a lot of information, please feel free and reach out to our support team, if you want to clarify any of these questions too. We're more than happy to explain them here, but sometimes, when a webinar setting, it's hard to be very specific, and our support team is going to be available to help you out, make sure that process goes smoothly for you.
So I love another question, kind of still stemming off this question, was to set up some automations or workflows of various kinds of follow-ups from contacts that are imported or after an event. So if you're looking for kind of examples of automations and workflows, I just want to direct everybody again to that question mark. It's always a big theme in our Ask a Trainer sessions, because we've actually added some new resources in the last 2 or 3 months here. So if you do go to the help desk and then search the word templates or sample templates or sample workflow templates, we actually have created articles for all of the above. So if you just go to this one, for example, Redtail sample templates, can't even say it. Then you can click on activity, automation, email, mail merge. We've broken it down into several different types of templates, note, and workflows. So these won't copy the templates to your database, but that's okay, because a lot of times you're going to look at our example workflow templates, for example, and go, oh, well, that's not at all how I do it, but now I know how to get started.
And I will say, because Haley's not one to toot her own horn, but she is pretty much the person who created it. So when she says we created this, she went through and created a lot of these templates. And a lot of it came from, discussion with us other trainers, because we talk to advisors one-on-one a lot. This is just information that we've pulled when talking to advisors as much as we do, and how they manage their clients. But again, like Haley went in and organized all these templates. They're absolutely amazing. I don't see enough people going in and using them. Take advantage of them. So for the very few people who joined on this webinar today, take advantage of these templates that were created. They're very phenomenal. So what's another question we got
Kind
in
of
here?
stemming off workflows, can the workflow report filter how long a workflow has been open? So for example, if I have a workflow on step 5 of 8, and the workflow report will tell me the due date of the step and target date. Oh, this is a really workflow question. Has it been open? So really you're looking for the length of time that the workflow's been open and the length of time that a step's been open. And then the next question is there enhancements coming to allow this visibility? Well, to the last question, absolutely. That is something that we are looking into, is being able to add this type of reporting to workflows, where you can see how long was it on a step, how long was the process open as a whole. Right now, the capability is going to be through workflows over here on the left-hand menu, and then seeing the target date and when the current step due and the estimated completion date. So there's not quite that level just yet.
And the current reporting on workflows, it's set up as a task management tool. And yes, like that stems more from just what needs to get done, which is why we do want to improve. But right now it's set up as what is currently open and due. Not about really what has been completed, but what is still open and needs to be completed. So that's how our reporting is currently stemmed off of the workflows. And like Haley said, we're definitely wanting to improve and build on top of that. I've seen a lot of great suggestions come in from our suggested feature, and I know our dev team and Haley have been organizing that information to make sure that we better improve the product for you guys, so that way you can actually use it better and then control more of the information that you have at your fingertips.
And whenever you come to questions like this, you're using the system in a really advanced way. So there are one-on-one trainings available with trainers like myself or Curtis or other trainers on our team, where we can sit down and dive into this with you. We've seen offices, for example, I'm sure you've seen it too, where with all your workflows, we can set the target date to the date it was created. And that gives you immediate trackability to that number. So there are workarounds or ways to use the system that works for you, because Redtail is so out of the box. Maybe if you don't use all the fields, it doesn't mean you're using the system inefficiently. You're just using it in a way that works for you.
Awesome. All right. Next question. Actually, this one is, it's a simple question, but a lot of people actually don't know this exists. So it says, I accidentally deleted a contact. How do I get it back without having to start over? And we've all been in a situation where I accidentally deleted something. It happens. Definitely fine. So what you can do is just go to contacts on the left-hand side. Once you're on the contacts page, up at the top, it says recycle bin. And so you just hit recycle bin, and then it's going to show you a list of every single contact that you've deleted in your database. So for instance, we have a very long list here, and I can find, okay, I didn't mean to delete Tom Allen. I can find him, and then I can choose to restore the contact or to permanently delete the contact out of the recycle bin.
That's terrifying. Permanently delete, obliterate from all existence?
Well, that's a little far-fetched. Let me say a few things about the word delete and about the permanent with Redtail. Because we're a compliant management system, if you delete a contact record, we can bring it back for you. If you permanently delete a contact record, we can bring it back for you. If you send it to the recycle bin, you still have control to bring it back. But even if you go in and permanently delete everybody, and then a year from now, 2 years from now, you say, hey, I need that contact back, call our support team, we can bring them back for you pretty easily, actually. I mean, it might take a little bit of time because it's still data that we had to pull up, but we can definitely do that. If it's in Redtail, it's going to be there.
I love these questions when these Ask a Trainers because we get to answer like kind of more than what we normally answer for it, right? So a couple other fun facts about deleted contacts, if you will. We just talked about combining contacts just a few minutes ago. When you combine contacts, everything in both of those contact records merges. All the notes, activities, all of the contact card information, emails, phone numbers, all the good stuff. And really what happens is a new record is created and both of those old records are deleted. So say you merge two contacts that shouldn't have been merged, they can't be unmerged, but they can be restored from the recycle bin. So you're not really doing anything that can't be undone, just like Curtis said.
And actually, a real life example, I spoke to someone, it might have been 4 or 5 months ago, where they did that. They combined, it was a father and son, it was a senior and a junior. And somebody went in and combined the two contacts because they thought they were the same person because they had a matching first and last name, but they were two different people. So all they had to do, again, delete the new contact that was created, go back to the recycle bin, restore those two, and move on. Like it's really easy to bring that back.
One more fun fact. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I know I have another one. One more fun fact about deleting contacts. So if you're an admin or a database owner on the phone, like the boss of the office, and you're thinking, well, golly, I don't want that one person in my office to have permission to delete contacts, even though it can be undone so easily. If you're the database owner, you actually have an additional permission under your name, manage your account. And way down here at the bottom, manage database users and teams, to take away the ability for someone, take away their rights.
User rights. So edit user rights.
To delete a contact. So now when Chris logs into this database or tries to delete a contact, actually he won't even get the button. He won't even be able to click it. Or you can take, like Curtis said, you can take away the ability to combine records, all of these, export PDFs, CSVs.
Yep. Yeah, so again, this is, if you're the database owner, you have the ability to limit rights, which are automatically enabled for everybody, but you can take them off. If you uncheck the box, it takes that ability away. And again, that just means they can no longer delete or combine contacts. Not everybody needs to have that ability, but it's really up to you. We had 2 questions come in and essentially the same thing. We mentioned one-on-ones. When we're not presenting in front of people or doing webinars, we are doing one-on-ones with our clients. If you want to schedule a one-on-one, the first thing you can do is email training@redtailtechnology.com. You can just send us an email that comes straight to the training team. We can schedule that with you. There's no cost for a one-on-one training with a team member, one of the training team members. We schedule them for an hour long. You can also, on the main page, go to support where Haley is, and it says need a trainer right there. You click on that, and essentially it'll pop up. You can answer what kind of training you want. We have different versions. You can request a training right from this form. Now, if you don't want to directly email us, you don't even want to leave your CRM, that's also possible. So for that, or even the second part of the question was that spreadsheet. Who do we email to upload that spreadsheet? If you have any question for anybody at Redtail and you're in the CRM, you go to your name in the top, or sorry, not your name, go to the question mark in the top right-hand corner, then choose submit a help ticket. All right. So once you choose that, give it a subject line of saying, request training, I want to upload a spreadsheet. And then you can even do certain things here. What's it related to? Most of the time, it's honestly about CRM. Now, this isn't just for requests. It can be maybe something, there's a data feed issue going on, something that's happening, some weird 500 errors popping up. You can submit a help ticket. This goes directly to our support team. They're open 5 to 5 Pacific time. So 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And they will answer your emails. We normally try and respond within the hour. But if you want to get the question answered a little sooner, call the 800 number. That's also available.
Absolutely, yeah. Keep typing those questions. Just a reminder for everyone on the webinar, keep typing those questions into the Q&A section on the webinar so that we can continue to answer them. Another one came in, and it's not about the CRM. Okay. Well, it kind of is. It's I use imaging, and when going to a contact, can it default to view my imaging documents?
Okay. So what they're talking about is, let's go to a contact record first. So I'm going to use the recently viewed. We're going to use Tim Taylor. So in Tim Taylor's record, if I go to the left-hand side and click on documents, what you're going to notice here is it says Redtail imaging.
What?
which
How?
is fine, which is fine. What might shock you is most of the time the default is it's always going to default to CRM document storage. But we have a lot of people who use our imaging products separately from the CRM document storage. And maybe it's always going to document storage first. I want it to go to imaging just like Curtis and Haley when they clicked on documents. Or maybe another one of our document view integrations, like that's what you want it to default to. This is actually a preference that they've updated recently. And so if you want to choose, when I click documents under a contact record in the CRM, and you want to choose what it defaults to, that's what we're talking about here. You go to your name in the top right, choose preferences. And then from here, we're going to scroll down. A lot of preferences. And actually, if you have not been in the preferences, go to the preferences, take a look at it. And actually, I scrolled past it. So under the section called contact record, you'll see you can choose default document view right here. And ours is set to imaging. It defaults right now to CRM, but you can switch it over to imaging itself. And so once you have that saved, anytime you go to a contact and click on documents, it is going to, and I misspoke earlier, I apologize. Right now it is just CRM and imaging. I believe we do have plans to add in the other integration tabs there, but right now it is just those two. So I do apologize for misspeaking there. I got a little excited for things that I hope are coming very, very soon. But again, one of those two options.
Just a quick difference between the two as well. Imaging is our additional paperless solution. So if you're looking to go paperless, that's a great product to look into for storing documents in a paperless way. Document storage is just really quick access to documents. They don't necessarily have to be stored in the WORM, write once, read many.
Yeah, so WORM, WORM, write once, read many. It's a mouthful.
It is. But the imaging is going to be WORM storage compliant. The document view is just a quick place to upload it and get quick access to it. So if you don't quite need that big old additional solution, it's okay to go ahead and upload documents to the doc storage for quick access.
All right, question just came in. What about setting up calendars? How does that work? And what are some of the challenges you've seen with new users? Actually, if you don't mind digging in a little more to that question, like you mean with just setting up, is that for specifically with preferences? Actually, I think that might be. So with the preferences, setting up your calendar, sorry, it took me a little bit to catch on to your question, but I got it now. What you're talking about is here, when you come to calendar management, this is strictly talking about when you click on calendar on the left-hand side, can you control what you're seeing? So let's actually do that. I'm gonna click on calendar. What you're gonna notice here, it defaults to the week. You're gonna notice it says Monday to Friday. There's no weekends there. It starts on Monday. The actions right up here of what's showing, it's showing the client reviews. It's not showing seminars. Those are all default preferences you can control on your camera, or sorry, on your calendar. So when you go to your name in the top right, choose preferences. And then down here to calendar management, you get to say, when I first click on calendar, do I want to go to the day, month, or week?
Yep.
We want to go to week. It's up to you. Default calendar start of the week. Do I want my calendar to start on Sunday? Do I want to start on Monday? Do I want my calendar to start on Wednesday? Honestly, I know there's assistants who only work like a few days a week, or even advisors who work a few days a week, and they only want to view like those days. You can really set it up to only view that information. So essentially, I'm looking at Wednesday. It's my first day of the week. Come from here. I can even come in and turn off the weekends.
Really, yeah, we'd recommend everybody come in, check out your preferences, see what can be changed and edited, adjust the view for what works best. Another kind of fun related one to this one is I'm a big calendar person. So my default login page is actually my calendar. The first thing I log into is my calendar. But another related question that came up to this is, well, that's great. That's managing the calendar inside of Redtail, right? But what about the ability to sync it with other calendars like Google or Outlook? I love this question because a couple months ago, it was a long time ago.
Retriever Cloud is a program we released, which is through the manager integration. So your name in the top right, then manager integrations. You can find the section that says Retriever Cloud. And this is a sync with calendar on Office 365 and contacts, as well as Google. So right here, you'll see that when you open up those settings, and Haley went through that a little fast. I'm just going to go back a little bit. So when you find Retriever Cloud, we're going to choose settings right here. And then it pops up just what she had, and you can choose, I want my contacts to sync, I want my activities to sync, completed activities, and then I can either enable the Outlook, which is Office 365, or enable the Google, or enable both. You can actually have both syncing with different internet calendars. And so actually information will get created on both ends and map up. I want to strongly say, I guess, Redtail is still your main calendar. This is designed for Redtail to be your main calendar, and it sync information out and in. So you don't want to set this up just so you can use Outlook and never go into Redtail. If you're setting this up, it means you're using other programs as an accessory. Redtail is still the main hub of all your information.
One of the main reasons and benefits of that is in Redtail, you can attach the contact to that activity. So that activity linked to that contact builds a history on that contact record. And we like to say if it's not in Redtail, it didn't happen.
Correct.
So keep that in mind. If it's not in Redtail, it didn't happen. If you're scheduling appointments in Outlook, it's not linking those contacts to those activities. So we do recommend that you start in Redtail. And the app has made that just a little easier just to plug that app back in here. Even if you sync it to the calendar on your phone, just for that quick access to see what's going on in a given day, you can still go into the app very quickly, add an activity for a contact, and then it'll sync to your Google or Outlook calendar. And that Outlook 365 calendar does cover certain kind of Microsoft Exchange accounts as well. So you have the option for both of those.
Another question that came in was actually about broadcast email. So when you are wanting to send a broadcast email, and what a broadcast email is in Redtail is I'm selecting a group of contacts. So let's use that quick list that we did earlier. So if I'm going to do the AAA clients, I want to send them a broadcast email. It means I'm selecting all 69 contacts here, and I'm going to come over to contact options on the right, choose bulk actions, and then fifth option down says broadcast email. This is actually going to send one email to all people selected. Now, I only chose the first 50. I forgot to choose the underline.
Well, one to each, right?
One each, yes.
Yeah.
One individual email to each individual person selected. So this is right now going to send 50 emails out, one to each person.
So I like that distinction, because when you're in Outlook and we BCC everybody, this is better than that. This is not the same as that, right? When we're in Outlook and you BCC all 50 people, then one email is going to 50 people. But this is like the Oprah of emails, if you will. It's sending each person their own distinct email with their email address in the to section of that email, which, it's kind of cool by itself. But the cooler part of that is that you can actually pull in their name.
And so we can actually come to the body of the email right here. And if you do the pound symbol twice, so pound, and we're going to type in first name, pound, we can even put the word, we'll do hey space. So hey, pound, first name, pound, comma. It'll fill out, hey, John, hey, Sally, hey, Haley, hey, Curtis. It'll fill it out. So they're getting an email from you to them specifically. So it's addressed to them, and it looks like you sent it only to them and nobody else. You're their client. Now, the main part of the question that was being asked in regards to broadcast email here was about the setup information. And so if you haven't set up the ability to send a broadcast email, when you first choose to send a broadcast email, up at the top, you'll have, I think it's like a red banner. It'll say you need to set up your SMTP settings.
That sounds really technical and terrifying.
It is. SMTP settings actually means Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It's referencing your actual outgoing server settings for your email. The easiest way to we changed that a little bit. Instead of Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, we like to say send a mail to people. So it's outgoing, we're sending it out. And so if you have those settings from your IT or your Outlook, wherever hosts your email, what you can do is go to your name in the top right-hand corner, choose preferences. Then from here, you're gonna scroll down to where it says emails. And once you're on the email section, down below your signature, it's going to say SMTP. Now, these are the settings if we host your email, because we have our own email server. You need a server port, your username, password, your username should be your email. That just means you have the authority to send out a broadcast email through that server. So everything is going and compliant through your server to your clients. When they respond back to that email, it's coming to where you read your email. So if you're reading your email, they're not going to see Redtail or anything like that. So keep in mind, set them up for your outgoing server settings. So when you send it out of Redtail, it comes back to your mail client.
A couple more fun facts about that one. It's not necessarily who you registered your domain with, who you bought your website domain from. So I would consult like an IT person in your office or someone who kind of knows where your email is hosted to find that info, or you can go into Outlook to get those settings as well. And then a fun addition to that is that when we referenced those templates earlier, there are some broadcast email templates, or you can make templates under your name and manage your account. There are broadcast email templates here, or email templates.
Perfect. And so, yeah, so if you're filling out the pound symbol, pound, all that, right here, we have one that's called first name structure. If we click on that, it actually fills out, hi, first name. It's there. You can fill out so you don't accidentally misspell it every single time. It's going to fill that information out. It's a great way to start with that.
With my lackluster typing skills, that is a necessity for me to have it already typed out in a way that I know works, and it will already populate for myself. So, yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.